switched it up on you tonight, didn't I? A little bit of a different song, a little bit of a different melody, but hey, we're still coming just as strong tonight. Hello, everyone. I am Kisa, also known as Coach K, the life change strategist. Like the groove is kind of messing with what I'm wanting to say to you all tonight, so I'm gonna move the volume down just a little bit because it's just kind of taking over, right? But anyway, on a serious note, I'm Kisa. I'm also known as Coach K, the life change strategist. And part of what I have been doing on this journey is really trying to and working through taking us through a journey, you could say, showing positive images in the midst of so much that we have going on from a negative perspective, whether it be relationships, whether it be just life, even in current topics. I mean, we're talking about an election that looms over us, a pretty significant election. But again, all with the idea of partnering with people in our community who are doing great things, who can give you tools to be successful in your career, in your life, and in your relationships. Those are the areas that I deal with as a life coach and as the life change strategist, okay? And relationship is just a hot button topic, especially for those of us who are more mature. I think it really is for everyone, but for those of us who are more mature, we've had to witness some significant changes in the way we date and connect and relate to one another, right? And so if you're out there in the dating arena and single, the number one issue that I hear is that, how do we connect? Men and women are saying we're just not connecting for that 50 and fabulous crowd. We're not connecting. I suspect it's not just for the 50 and fabulous crowd. So Men Speak on Mondays kicked off just a couple of weeks ago. And I want to introduce you to our guest tonight. You know him. He's long in the community. He is a senior IT analyst who works in our community. But most importantly, I consider him a brother, okay? His name is Cliff Jones. Coach Cliff.
What up? What up?
What up? What up? Hey, friend, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing good this evening.
Good,
So
good.
we have so much to hear from you regarding, right? So like this is post Magic City Classic, right? And
Yes, yes, yes. Running on fumes, running on
okay,
fumes.
right, running on fumes after the big classic weekend and all that stuff. And let me just say this. This is a little bit of a turn. We're gonna get to just sort of all subjects, right? Certainly we'll talk about that relationship arena, the election, which is right upon us. But how was your I saw you with your beautiful family. I saw you were walking with your beautiful wife, Miss Latoya, your
Yep,
two beautiful sons, handsome sons. You had
yep.
another person. I'm not sure who the other person was. I
Yeah.
didn't hear you talking. How was your experience? How was the fam's experience out with the Magic City Classic?
Well, it was amazing. So the reason why this was so exciting for me personally is because I have a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old. The 14-year-old is in band this year, so he's in ninth grade, first year high school student,
Hmm.
first year in the marching band.
Oh.
And right, right. And he goes, and I'm just gonna keep it honest here, to a predominantly white school, right? In the marching band is like that. So I wanted to take him to the classic to just kind of get that HBCU
Mhm.
experience, for him to see, because it's different. It's a different culture, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
And I was in the marching band myself and kind of in a similar situation. And I know I ended up going to a HBCU for like the summer, and it was just such a like a culture shock for me. So I wanted him to kind of start seeing that, feeling that, experiencing that. And man, we had a great time. I mean, he was just very inspired from predominantly the A&M band. He really enjoyed how they did. Um, and actually was like, I think I want to go at A&M, but we're gonna do college tours and all of that stuff. I just kind of told him like, look, we go take our time, we go do it right,
Yeah.
because ideally at the end of the day, it's got to be your decision, right? We're gonna be there to support you. But it was just, I think I was more excited than everybody because family is just very big to me. You know that. People
Yeah.
who are close to me know that.
Yeah.
I speak a lot about being a father, about being a husband. In this household, I reference king a lot because, I mean, even in my boys, I reference myself as a king, and them, I call them their kings in training,
Yes.
KOTs,
Yes.
just trying to kind of build them and show them what it truly is to be number one, like a man of God, because we lead everything in this household that we have is just all because of God. And I make sure I instill that in them now. Like, look, you cannot make it out here if you don't have God first. And one thing that I'm very proud of, and I'm not bragging, but man, I just love this, is that like if I get sick, because I was sick last week, it was a little bug went around the house. If I get sick, I can go to my 9-year-old and say, hey, can you pray over me? And
Wow.
he in 2 seconds will jump up, come over, put his hands on me, say a
Wow.
prayer, and we both say amen. And my oldest will do it too, but when he's in teenage mode right now, so he's always on his computer and gaming all day. So, but you know, I just love the fact that I can do that and that I have a relationship with my boys that I can do that with. So, but yeah, we're all tired and laying around today because it was a long, long
Long,
day.
long weekend. Yeah,
Yeah,
long day.
absolutely,
After
absolutely,
post Magic City Classic. And I can
absolutely.
attest, I'm listening to you. I must say that I can attest to your family's commitment to Christ, commitment to church, commitment to God. Because, the other part of that is, we were church members, you
Right,
understand, for a season
right.
as well. And even with your mom as well. So I
Right.
know that you have that foundation and that rooting.
Yeah,
So I can attest to that as being a part of
absolutely.
your foundation. So glad to hear. So you lead me right into the crux of this. Coach Cliff, I have determined that and have learned that my friends like to hear from the men. They like to hear from guys. Okay, I
Hmm.
don't I don't dare say that callously. I don't dare say it facetiously, nor do I say it in a disparaging way. In other words, they like to hear wisdom from men. I
Yeah.
talked in the intro about relationships and how people are lacking the connection. You've made it work with your wife. And for lack of a better word, that's not the best description. Been together with your wife a long time, and you talked about how important family is.
Hmm.
What's been the glue in ever changing times? People struggling to connect. What's been the glue with your wife and your family and making it work and you excelling in your IT arena? She's an entrepreneur, business owner,
Yeah.
successful business owner,
Yes.
raising two young men. So we've got all the excuses and all the instances of what's not working. Help me understand. Just sort of walk me through, and I'll be quiet here. Walk me through how you make it work.
Well, I mean, just to kind of roll back a little bit, just a little history on, like when we met, it was just nothing but God from the get-go, right? And I start there because I think that's important because when we met, we both went to Alabama at the same time,
Roll
was in
Tide.
the Roll Tide, absolutely. Was at Alabama at the same time, had the same social circles, knew the same people, and never crossed paths
Wow.
ever.
Wow.
Until we both graduated and started working at this company. And honestly, at that time in my life, I had just graduated. My dad died actually 2 weeks prior to graduation. So I was really
Ooh,
in this mode of like trying to find myself, like, I'm about to embark into a whole new world, just a lot on my plate, and I'm just kind of doing some self-discovery. And then even the way she was introduced to me, because my boss at the time, just happened to bring her over to my cubicle and introduced us. And, hey, how you doing? She was the same way. And, we had a small conversation. And when she left, he said this to me. He turned to me and he said, "Hey, man," because I'm looking puzzled, like, what was that? And he was like, "Hey, man, you never know. That might be your future wife." And
No, I've never
so
heard
that,
this story.
yeah, so me and this guy, we are still good friends, like what, 20 some years later, and
I bet you.
still joke about this, right? Because it ended up just like that. But, at the time, neither one of us was looking for a relationship. She was kind of just, wasn't looking for anybody either. And we just literally started out as friends. Like, I asked her on a lunch date, we went to McAllister's, just friends. But just over time, just naturally, just, start, it's just little things like saying the same thing, or like when we go, like everybody quiet and we go to say something, we say the same thing to each other. And we was like, this is so weird. But anyway, fast forward, we ended up falling in love with each other.
After how many years? You got to give us the dates.
We dated for 2 years. So I don't know really how long we did the friend thing, but eventually we started dating, and then we dated for 2 years, and on the 2 year anniversary is when I proposed to her. Yeah.
So,
So
so let me ask you. No, keep going. I'll put a pin in it. Keep going. Keep
yeah,
going.
and that's just a backstory. I had to tell that because I really want everybody to see like how from the beginning this was just kind of like a God thing, right?
Mm,
So, we're in marriage, and look, let me say, one thing about my wife is she allows me to grow and helps me to grow, and she's a great helper. So when we got married, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I was just like every other man out there, not communicating, a lot going on, wasn't talking to her. Just communication was terrible.
mm,
Probably on both sides. But one thing, and this kind of brings us into the glue aspect, one of the things is that I can honestly tell everybody out there what definitely helps is when we communicate. Now, it took us kind of some years to get to where we are, right? Because we had to figure it out just like everybody else. But we would talk to each other. Like, she would tell me, like, you need to learn, you need to communicate, you need to open up. Because I would come in, I don't have a mask, I can't wear a mask. I'm coming in, clearly I'm bothered, I'm down, I'm stressed, depressed, whatever. And she asked me how I'm doing. I'm like, I'm good, just would never say anything. And even on that, like on the financial aspect, like from the communication standpoint, I wasn't communicating on that aspect. So
mm,
we were having these little challenges, right? All based
mm,
around communication. So just through conversation and telling each other, we both are receptive to feedback and apply and try to do better, right? So I started communicating. It was very, very uncomfortable for me to do that. And I told her that. I even told her in the beginning, I was like, look, you're going to have to be patient with me because this is
mm,
extremely uncomfortable for me, all right, to communicate. I'm an
mm,
only child. I'm a man. We're just kind of drilled to like hide our emotions, don't express emotions. So, and she was okay with that. So, just over time, she allowed me to communicate, and it got a little easier and easier. And so, to the point to where, I can pretty much communicate anything to her, without feeling judged, right?
mhm, mhm,
Like I can go to her about something and there's like no judgment, no ridicule, anything like that. She genuinely wants to kind of get to the bottom of the problem, or how we can work together for a common solution. And then the same with her when I express feedback, or if something's going on in the marriage that, I feel like could be an issue, we talk about it and she applies and tries to do better. We just try to meet in the middle, but I mean, we had our challenge. Every marriage has challenges, right? In the beginning when you getting kids and all this new stuff coming at you, and you not communicating, yeah, you go have some challenges, some arguments or whatnot. But the key is to, how old folks used to always say, never go to bed angry,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then, but more than anything, dude, if you have a helpmate, and my wife is the epitome of a helpmate, like what she does helps me to be better, right? And yeah,
Let's, because I want you to reiterate on that. Like, what does she do to help you? You said she is a helpmate. As you finish
yeah,
that thought, what does that look like in practicality?
yeah. So helpmate, like, even when it comes to, we'll start at the kitchen, right? Because this is one area right here where we still to this day, like, we not on common ground, right? I'm just gonna keep it real. But I don't like to cook. I'm not great at cooking. I'll grill. She does the cooking. She makes it known often that she ain't tired of doing all the cooking, But but even in that, like today, she came down and she'll probably hate that I said that, but she brought me a plate down, like a breakfast down, because I was laid out, I'm wore out from yesterday, right? I'm doing all the driving and all of that. But she brought me some down to eat, and it's like, so I mean, you got things like that. One thing, just really anything that I need, I can call. You know what I'm saying? I can rely on her.
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
really, no question, unless it's just something crazy, which I never do that.
mhm.
Um, you know, she's my real. Now, one thing that I share, I haven't shared this with a lot, but I don't mind sharing it here. Um, Now one thing that I will always remember is, so back when I was at that old company,
Yeah.
won't mention.
No, no, don't mention no
Yeah,
names.
yeah. I was severely, really, really bad place in my life. Very depressed. Find out that I was basically like a functioning addict and had to go to rehab. And I just remember, and this was during the time where like she had just gotten her salon. Like it was so many big things about to pop off. And I find out that I have to go off to rehab for like 2.5 weeks, because it was a doctor prescribed medication that, I mean, these things get addictive. And when you
Yeah.
try to get off of it, your body's like, nah.
Yeah.
So that just sent me into a depressive spiral. But I just remember during that time, and even one of the counselors there. So I just remember when I got there, like, there was a process for the spouse to where like they were supposed to call and get like, sign up for like a time or something like that, for something I can't really recall. But I remember the counselor telling me like she had already called, like he said in his whole tenure, like, number one, most spouses don't even call, you know what I'm saying? But he was just like, she had already called, signed up, did all that, and he was just telling, he even told me, like, look, man, that's very rare. But even while I was in there,
Wow.
just held it down.
Wow.
Got the salon done, took care of the boys, you
Wow.
know, just held the whole fort down like it was nothing. And
Wow.
then, when I came out a new and better person, um, she never said anything about it. She never like made me feel bad about it,
Mm,
like I was, I
mm.
mean, just never said anything. She was just there,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, and we work as a team, and you've seen it. I always reference us as Jones team, right?
You do.
Because
You
and
do.
even when, if I call a team meeting, right, or family meeting, because if it's a subject that's big enough, I will call a family meeting. And even in that, I'm telling the kids, like, look, we are a team. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has an individual role, and we are to always help each other.
Yeah.
So that's where just some of the things about the helpmate, that I mean, I think that's really critical from both aspects, the
Yeah.
man and the woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of the glue.
What I'm hearing you, that's good. What you shared, that's good.
Yeah.
And let me say this: kudos to her Kudos to you for being mature as two people, because what I heard while you were talking is both of you wanted to do the work, number one. Number
Mm,
two, while doing the work, she didn't complain.
mm-mm.
She didn't
Yeah.
put it back in your face. Well, you know, I'm blah, blah, blah.
None of that.
Okay,
And see,
say
that's
that,
what'll
say that
break a
again.
man. That's
Come
what
on
will
now, say
break
that
a man.
again. That's where I'm going. Come on, say that
Yeah,
again.
that will break a man. If a man is pouring his heart out to you, and you come back and throw something in his face or make him feel ridiculed, he would never tell you anything else. I can assure you of that. That's the worst thing you can do, and it happens a lot. I hear friends. I'm in black husband groups. Um, I mean, that's the majority of what men complain about. Is that when they try to, and it's two sides to every story now, but when they try to express themselves, it's just the reaction that they get from their spouse makes them shell up. We're already shelled up from the get-go. So if you create a little break, and allow us to seep out a little information, and then just make them feel ridiculed, go shell right back up, go put some glue over that crack, wrap it with tape. Like, it's just gonna be even harder to get stuff out of them in the future. And I mean, it's unfortunate because look, men are complicated. They think women are complicated. I mean, we're simple, but mentally we're very complicated, right?
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because the byline, the tagline is always men are simple. Men are simple.
We're simple and practical, but mentally, you know what I'm saying? Because
That's
of
a dis-
just the
that's a great
childhood
distinction.
upbringing,
That's a great
the
distinction.
pressure of being a man and providing and protecting and leading, right? If you're a good man, those things mean a lot to you. So you can even put pressure on yourself. Now, this is when I know, like, I'm doing too much and I'm not relying on God, because when I start feeling those stresses of trying to be everything, the great husband, the great father, the great community leader, and I'm just feeling weight, then I know I veered off, right? So luckily I know how to read my red flags now, and I pull it back in. Um, but then, dude, that's a lot of why we're able to do this is because I have a open relationship with God. Like, when I get up at 3 in the morning to go to the gym, my whole routine is start with God first, and talking to him, and then I get my mind right, go to the gym, and then go to work. Like, I just try to center everything around him first so he can show me. Cause I still don't feel like I still feel lost some days. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, a lot of people share that they're inspired by me and my family, and that means so much to me. But I still feel like I got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? Just me personally, as being the man that I want to be for me and my family.
But I believe your covering is doing not a I'm not saying that right. I believe your helper is helping you to cover that.
She absolutely is. Like, I wouldn't be where I am without her. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest. Just, even when I had a job where I was traveling all this, I would be going from Sunday to Friday, and she was holding the whole fort down with two boys going nuts. Like, I felt terrible, and that's really one of the reasons why I ended up leaving that job, because the sacrifice was worth it. I was losing time with my kids. And there was a pattern evolving to where the oldest was starting to get in trouble on the days that I'd be out of town. And it was just a lot on my wife. So I found another job. I mean,
Was
that
that
wasn't the primary.
was that that wasn't the corporate blah blah blah, that was something else?
That was the corporate blah blah blah.
Really?
Yeah, that was
I
part
didn't know that.
one. Yeah, it was a number of things, but yeah, I mean, that was part of it. Like, just being away from my family too long,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I knew those were critical times for my boys. You know,
Wow.
we talking like under 10, right? Well, 1-5, 110.
Yeah.
Those are critical times, right?
Wow.
Um, but I want to share something that somebody was just because this just wraps right into family. And unfortunately, kind of where we're heading, y'all, I really would like for us to turn it around. I just don't know how or what that looks like, you know, with just how things are going. But one of the members from foundation Blended Lines shared with me last night in Messenger. I'm not gonna name the school, all right, but it was a Birmingham City school that played another school, all right. Let's say a predominantly white school. I'm gonna say that. And they took a picture and had posted it. This was a screenshot, right? So I couldn't see the actual page. But on the Birmingham City School side, no parents, no fans. It was completely empty. Football team on the sideline, nobody in the stands to support them. Other side, full of parents. And you know, being a band parent, I get it. And you know, me having a foundation that's based around diversity, you know, I dig deep in stuff like this. So that was an away game. So you have to look at, you know, we're talking about this is low income area, right? And then they're having to go way out. This was kind of far out. So that plays into it as well, right? You know, transportation, cost. I'm a band parent myself. Look, it costs money to go out to these games, right? But not one person, not one parent, like nobody could collectively, like, I don't know, put money together to ride out there together, you know. I don't know. Um, but when I see stuff like that, it just makes me take even more pride in what I'm doing and just really push the family dynamic. You know, look, it's not easy being a parent. It's not easy being a husband, a wife. If you signed up for easy, don't you don't need to do it. You know, it's very, very challenging. It's just how you handle the challenges. The challenges are gonna come. It's just how are you respond, how you and your spouse respond is going to create the end result, right? Um, and you know, that comes with time figuring that out. We didn't know that coming into this. It took us maybe the first 10 years trying to, you know, few blow ups, trying to get this machine well oiled, you know. And
How
then
many
after
years have you
that,
been married? How many years have you been married?
17
17.
years.
I put you
Yeah.
all at 20. So
Yeah. Well, we working on it. We gonna do it big for our 20th. You know,
I
we
know
gonna have
that.
a
I know you are.
party theme, all that. I think we might be out of town. Who knows, man? My wife is very very creative. She's a business mogul.
Yes.
She just amazes me, man. And another thing I do intentionally is I talk about my wife a lot. Like when I go out, you know, amongst other people, I talk about her, I brag about her, I let people know that she's my wife and I love her. Um, you know, and I'm an extrovert, so you know, I like to talk anyway. She's an introvert, so that's also interesting because it's kind of like the whole opposites attract.
Mhm.
She's completely opposite of me. Like
Mhm.
she
Mhm.
like to be at home. She don't really care to be around a whole lot of people, you know, and I'm the opposite. I love it.
Yeah.
So even in that, we handle that like a team. Anything that has to deal with talking or face interaction or people, I'll take that on. And
Yeah.
then anything that might be a little too slow or boring for me, she'll take it on, right?
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about it is to Cliff, that you have to think about with you being an outward facing person when you're interacting like that. Now that can be draining too. And
Oh yeah.
that can wear on your psyche as well because people are constantly making withdrawals from your energy, your positivity, your conversation.
So look, it's funny you bring that up because that is yet another thing that I appreciate with her is
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
she understands what you just said, because I'm already super sensitive in any way, like an empath. Like I could just feel just people's emotions, right? And
Empaths unite.
yes, and so like I could
Yeah,
just be in the room, and just feel it. I can just tell when somebody's going through something, and I just go and say, "Hey, you all right?" And they bust
yeah,
out crying or something.
yeah.
So, yes, I get depleted, right? And so I come down here to the cave and I'm by myself, and she understands that when I'm down here, this is like my time. Now, of course, she can come down here, but she
Sure.
allows me to be down here uninterrupted so I could just recharge, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And she gives me that. I mean, she don't pester me, nag me, anything like that. Um, and I love that, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be the person I am. I'd probably be irritable or something like that, but
yeah.
um again, it's going back to helpmate, right? And knowing what it is that your spouse needs in order to make them comfortable or better.
That's so good. That's so good. I think you're going to help so many people just in terms of sharing how your wife helps you. And you mentioned how you make sure that you mention her. You make sure. And I really call that honor because what I see is that culturally, we have become, in some instances, not all, I'm speaking in generalities here, but culturally, we've just become enamored with chaos, dishonor. I went to a party recently, and I had one young lady, a professional colleague, say, "Well, you've heard this song, Main One, have you?" And I was like, "No, I haven't heard that. What's that song?" Well, it's referencing the fact that the guys will have a main one, and then they'll have several other women that they're not the main one, but he may go
Yeah.
out with the one. You've heard this, Cliff?
No, I haven't, but I'm not surprised.
So here's the question, and being at that party, I'm 52. It was kind of odd because no gentleman came and really said anything to you. All the guys just kind of stood back and looked. Overwhelming number of women. Can you help? Can you give some insight from a guy's perspective on where do you think the shift has happened, or what do you think is going on? Why they're struggling? There's a struggle right now for mature people to really connect and just have a conversation. And hey, I like you. Let's go out, and it be normal. Can we normalize meeting one another? Can we normalize dating one another again? The simplicity of that. Just can you do? You may not know, but can you kind of talk us through like what do you think is going on?
I mean, you know, now if we're talking about the younger generation, I'm gonna blame that a lot on social media. I just people have become so disconnected, from just having valuable relationships. Everything is on social media. And I think for the young people, they just don't know how to interact. And then social media is just making it all about what can I get out of it? Like the whole going on the dates and who pay for what and ordering all this food and leaving. You're like, what is this? What's going on? Like, why are we
Thank you.
doing all this?
Thank
Just
you.
making it so complicated. For the older generation or my generation,
The OGs.
the OG, I mean, look, the OG should know better, man. But but you know, it really boils down to the man, that individual himself. Like, what kind of man is he? Is he a confident man? Is he a strong man? Is he intimidated? Is he intimidated by a strong black woman? A lot of men are. Um, I think a lot of that is just going to deal with where he is in his journey, right? If he has taken the time out to truly become a better person and is genuinely working on becoming a better man, king, um, I don't think he would be deterred in any way, right? If he sees something he won't, he go over there and he go try to get it, right? Um, but then, if there's some trauma, because a lot of people got trauma. I had
A
trauma.
lot of
I had to go get a therapist.
Yes.
Has he dealt with the trauma from his childhood? Um, that's another thing I did for my marriage. I had a lot of trauma from my childhood that I did not want to bring into the marriage and have Toya affected by it. So I had to go in and deal with that, you know. So it goes back to what I said initially with, God first, because God directs me so I will know what to do. But if this man doesn't have God first, number one, that's done, right? Now that means he's trying to figure it all out on himself, on his own. Um, so yeah, naturally he would be intimidated in the setting with women because he ain't even figured out himself, right? You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I mean that this is a guess now, I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, a real OG should know better.
Yeah.
The youngsters, I totally get it.
I
I
give the
think it's
youngsters oh, I'm sorry.
no, you good. I just think it's the social media, a
Yeah,
big part.
I'm totally with you on that. And but Cliff, Coach Cliff, I hear women my age say, "I haven't been asked out on a date in years. I
It's
haven't."
bad, man. Look, listen, I feel bad for women. I genuinely do. Like, I don't know what happened. I really don't. Like, there was a time where you would see strong relationships and strong marriages and people just at the first drop of a dime when things go wrong would try to hang in there. But now it seems like everybody want to bail soon as, things get challenging or hard. And I would tell anybody out there, if you have that mindset, don't get married. Just don't
Yeah.
get married
Yeah.
because it's not gonna last, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know, man. I pray for this world. I pray for the women out there. I mean, and I always tell women like, just stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? Praying this. You want a man, just keep praying, asking God to deliver you a king because it's a mess out here. I mean, it's some real busted up. I'm not even gonna call them men. It's a lot of boys out here, right?
There's
It's
a
a lot of
coach
boys.
that's good. There's a coach that calls them grown boys.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, they're grown boys. They act like boys.
What's what so for the women who, because sometimes I think it's not a case that they're not meeting people. Sometimes I think a person can linger too long with the wrong person,
Yeah,
a grown boy,
I agree with that.
and he talked about some signs of a grown boy. Have you what do you know, and I know this is off the cuff and I know this is unexpected. What are you what would you say are some things that women do a compare and contrast for us, coach? Coach us through this, like
So
what
I
should
mean, like,
look for and not look for.
so with grown boys, just that's somebody who's not responsible, not accountable, has an excuse for everything, will not accept feedback, or just if somebody tell you did something wrong or you made them feel a certain way and they just want to get all angry and upset and start yelling. That's a boy. Come on.
Mm,
Like, um,
mm,
and not being dependable. I mean, you will find out real quick from a man where you fall in the priority, right? Because as the old saying says goes, a person will make time for what they want, right?
yes.
So now an account, a king accepts accountability. He knows that he leads and is not afraid to do it no matter what the circumstance. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but you go forward and you do it. Protects, is trustworthy, is reliable, um, and it's somebody you just can depend on. You're not out here lying. You're not out here trying to be with other women. Um, you know, and it really just boils down again to like what kind of vision do you have for yourself as a man? See, a
Mm,
lot of these grown up boys, they don't know what a man is. And part of that may not be their fault because maybe they didn't have a dad in their life, right?
that's right. That's right.
That does play a part. Like if you didn't have your dad in your life, really, how do you know if you didn't have like an uncle or another male to come into your life or male mentor? You
Hmm.
won't know what it's like to be a man. Luckily I was blessed to have my father in my life, and he taught me a lot. But even then, when I became grown, I felt like I didn't know nearly enough, right? And that's with having a dad.
Wow. Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So, um, so I think a lot of grown boys out here are out here guessing and just have question marks over their head about who they are and what kind of person are you and what kind of person do you want to be? And so there's question marks out here. They walking around, they got question marks right here. And so those are the grown boys. But the ones that's walking around up here with the little crown, them the kings. They
Wow.
know what they want, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching this stuff all the time, and to at least know what's out there. But I saw something that I thought was really good in a short following one of these coaches, and he said, a man's going to come to you with a plan. He says he's going to
Yeah,
know what he wants. He's going to know
yeah,
if you're talking about looking for it. Now, if you want to just play out there and date, this conversation
yeah,
part of the conversation isn't for you. But a man is going to have a plan. He's been preparing. He's got his stuff together. It's
right.
not, and he's coming to you with go time if he wants to have a relationship, not just seeing what's out there, not just hanging out, just want to do a little hangout, or not being sure. Does that sound true to you?
Uh, yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Um, going back, I'll say this as well. Um, on the woman's side, that
Mm-hmm.
there's a role there as well, right? And so what I mean by that is like even when I met Toya, right? I mean, Toya kind of made it clear from the get-go when we were dating, like, I'm not one of these girls is gonna be dating you for 3, 4, 5 years, right? I mean, she had kind of already put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she kind of held me to a standard, right? Like this is what I'm not gonna put up with this. And so that kind of helped guide me, right? Because if I didn't have that, then I would have probably just gone about my merry old way of, just being a man. But because she gave me that, I was like, okay, she ain't playing around. So, and then in 2 years, I proposed because, we had already kind of been talking along the way anyway. But she just always just kind of kept it out there like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be doing this forever, right? Either you want me or you don't.
I
So,
love that.
and yeah, and that helped kind of like, again, kind of guide me on when was the right time and whatnot.
I think so you just gave another key there. And the key is, it's okay, ladies, to put your standards out there.
It
You don't
is. Yeah, please do it. Like, I don't know, man. I still feel there are men out there who would appreciate and respect that. I do. Like,
that's
I know
good. I do
everybody,
too. I do
yeah,
too.
I know like sexuality is just very free now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean it's just out there, right? Whenever. But I'm telling you, like, I know there are still men out there who appreciate a woman who will just take time. You know what I'm saying? Take time, just get to know you. Y'all just, evolve. Let the relationship just evolve. Um, but I think that's just gonna come with prayer, man.
Yeah.
Just because of where we are. It's
Yeah.
just so much bad out here.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's only gonna come from prayer,
That's
unless you
good.
get, yeah, I really do.
That's good. Okay, boy, that's good. Um, Continue to pray and continue to uphold your standards, ladies. I mean, I don't believe in making things complicated with whatever, and I like to hear from my brothers because you're hearing it from them, and sometimes it sticks a little better because it's not Keisha just on here saying, and I really can't speak from a man's perspective, but it sticks, believe it or not, when we hear it from you all. So I love that. Let me shift a little bit before we get ready to close on out. I want you to do two things. One thing, we have an election on the horizon. I've been trying to encourage people to get out and vote and not
Please,
sit it out. It's too many people
please.
saying, "Oh, my vote doesn't count," or "I'm going to just sit this out." I, Geez, I'm thinking, I don't. How can we really afford to do that? But what
Yeah,
can you do? You see the importance of the vote? I know the answer, but I'll let you tell them.
absolutely. You know, and if we want to just ground it up into what we're talking about, that's part of being a man, right?
Mm,
Being a king. Voting is very important. And, regardless of who you vote for me personally, I stand on the fact that my ancestors died, right, to be able to vote.
thank you.
And even if I would just say, even if somebody is out there and feel like your vote doesn't count or whatnot, like I get it, I understand. But man, people died to be able to do this. And you have the opportunity to do it. And to not do it is really disrespectful to the ancestors.
Mm,
So, regardless of who you vote for, all these laws that we have start from voting, right? Voting in all of these elections. And you can't sit around here and be constantly complaining and then not vote. That's crazy, right? So if you have the opportunity to be able to vote, you need to be out there voting. It doesn't take long. You in and out, circle in some circles, and then you're done. So
mhm.
again, that goes into line with being a grown man, being a king, doing your part. I feel like that's a leadership thing. Leaders, they go and they vote. They vote on major laws and decisions that are going to be made over the land. So I feel that just goes right along with it. So please, y'all, go out and vote, please.
I love it. I love it. And how can we support you moving forward? Let them know how we can support you and what you do with blended lines and so.
Yeah, yeah. So you can support me by going to the blendedlinesfoundation.com. You can donate to the foundation.
Mhm.
For the last 2 years, I've actually put on a Christmas extravaganza for the Birmingham City Schools, where we went in and blessed kids with haircuts, got the nails done for the little girls, some pampering going on, video games, DJ.
Ah,
Um, and dude, just to see the smiles. I mean, I tear up every year because I really can't believe I'm finna say this, but some of the kids hadn't had haircuts in like months, right?
mm,
And so when
mm,
they get that fresh haircut, man, and to see them
mm.
smiles on their faces, and they feeling good, they looking good, it just really blesses you. So, and that's why I have the foundation. The foundation is just a lot of like-minded people, diverse people of all kinds that truly just want to be there for each other and love each other. We're tired of the hate. We're
Yeah,
tired of the division. We just want to love. That's it.
that's good. And I want to support you with my business with All Shea, with some of these young men and women, donating some little gift packets for them of shea butter and different things like that.
That'd be
Just
awesome.
a little
We
pamper.
definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
I will follow up with you about that, my friend. Okay.
Okay. Sounds
Well,
good.
thank you for being here.
Yeah, I
Yay!
appreciate you having me on. This was an honor. I really appreciate it. And it's just good to have interviews like this where you can just sit down and actually, take time to think back on certain aspects of your life because, a lot of us don't do that. We like 100 miles an hour, and
Yeah,
it's important to reflect. So I
yeah.
appreciate it.
And share and encourage other people because I believe you gave people some hope today,
I
especially
hope
in
that I did. I hope that
yes,
and just for the
especially
women, man, I just really feel on my heart to just tell the women to just and I know this is cliche and you hear it all the time, but just stay strong, stay prayed up, and continue to work on you, and then when the time is right, just like with me and my wife, right? Was at the same college, never crossed paths. We didn't cross paths because it totally would not have worked, right? I was a different person in college. She was, but the timing of after the fact when we met was just that was it. It was all on the timing. So just stay encouraged. I would
Thank
say
you
that.
so much. Thank you so much. Received. How about that?
Yeah, right.
Received. Cliff Jones,
Absolutely.
I'll let you go and get back to your family and some other things that you're doing in your man cave down there.
Oh, I'm chilling all day today, baby. I'm
Chill
loving
out. Chill out, bro. Chill out.
it. I'm in here like a king.
Okay, yes.
Hey, I appreciate
Enjoy.
you, man. And if you need anything, just holler. I'm here.
We listen, we know. We thank you. This was huge. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. My pleasure. You have a good one, all right?
All right, you as well.
All right.
All right, that is our friend. That is Cliff Jones. And you can see that's how you support his foundation. See more information, blendedlinesfoundation.com, to see how you can support sharing some words of wisdom with us tonight on Men Speak. Man, these guests have been awesome and just left you ladies with that encouraging word and really just some truth. And I believe also some steps of what it looks like for women to support our men and also what a healthy relationship looks like when going through challenges. Man, the nuggets that he dropped in that interview. So I want to thank you for tuning in. And until next week, when we have Men Speak on Mondays, we're going to keep it coming. We appreciate your support. I'm Kisa, Coach K, and I'll see you again next time. Have a great one, everybody.